Okay, boys and girls, this is our lesson 10.1, day 2. What we're going to do is we're going to create a coordinate grid, and then based on the coordinates that they give us, create a triangle, and then find the area for the triangle. So let's first make our coordinate grid. I'll just use red. Let's do it came out black. Just do the best that you can. If you use a ruler at home, that would be good. It's a little tricky to draw on here, but I'm going to do my best. I noticed that there's -5 for the y. That's the smallest amount. So I'm going to make sure that my y, the negatives, have more room. So I'm going to just draw up here. Okay. So we have the x, the y, and the x. Oops. And then we could start labeling our coordinate grid. So we have 1, 2, 3, and so forth. I'm not going to label it. I need you guys to label it at home. I'm not going to label it because I'm going to run out of room. So I'm just going to erase this, and it's going to be too difficult for me to do it on here. So I'm just going to plot the points for us. So the first one is p is -4, -5. So we go x, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -5. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to put a dot right there. Just get a bigger marker. So this is P. Then we have to do Q, -6, -1. So I go over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -1 is going to be right there. And that's Q. Then R is 2, -1. So 1, 2 positive, down 1, -1. And that will be R. So then what you're going to do is connect the dots, and then this is going to be our triangle, and try to use a ruler to make it easier for you at home. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I need to find the base and the height. So I'm going to use QR right here as my base. So I need to count up how many blocks there are. The reason why I'm using QR, because you can see it's a straight line. The other two, QP and PR, they are on diagonal, so I rather use a straight line. So I count up my blocks: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because it goes all the way over to 2 here. So it's 8 for the base. And the height's going to be from the base up to the tallest point, which is P. So right here. Remember, it has to be at a right angle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my height equals 4. So the formula, if you remember our formula is 1/2 base times height. So what I like to do is just take half of one of these because they're both even. So I'm going to take the base, I'm going to make it 4. So it'll be 4 times 4, which equals 16. So it's 16 units squared. That's a 2 there. Okay? All right, so the rest of them, they're fairly easy. Just make sure when you do the base, you want to find a straight line for the base. All right, let's look at a couple others, though, that are a little bit trickier. So 25 and 26 are going to be a little trickier. Actually, 24. Let's go back to 24. So 24, it says that there's 2 squares here and a triangle. The areas of the squares are 144 inches and 64 square inches. Sorry. Find the area of the whole figure. So right away I know that if I'm going to label this the first square, and the second square, all I have to do is add those up, and that'll give me the area of those two. So add up 144 plus 64, and that'll give you the area for those two. But the problem is we need to figure out the area of the triangle. So what we know is this, that they're squares. So we know that its length squared will give me the area. So what I look at is 144 is my area. So what number when I multiply it together equals 144? I know that's 12. So that's size 12. This whole side is 12. If I look at 64, I know it's 8 and 8. So this right here is 8. This right here is 8. So now I could figure out right here, let's call this my base, or you could call it the height. It doesn't really matter. So I know what that is, and then right here we already know what this side is right here. So we have our base and our height right there. Okay, so you can figure the rest out. Okay, so for this one, I see that we have a square and the perimeter is 160 inches. So remember, perimeter means add up the sides. So I could divide it by 4, and I see that each side is going to be 40. Okay, so that's important. Next thing is the whole figure, which is the square and the triangle. If I figure out the area of that, that's going to be 40 times 40, which is 1,600 inches squared. So what we need to do is find out the triangle. So what we're going to do is this. It's probably pretty easy to figure out these 3 triangles here, and you just subtract it from there, and that'll give you the shaded figure. Well, to figure out that, there's a couple key points. M is the midpoint of QR, and N is the midpoint of SR. Well, if that's the midpoint, so I could divide it by 2, and I get 20 and 20, 20 and 20. Now, if you look carefully, you'll see that I have, for each one of these triangles, I have 20 is my base, 40 is my height, 20 is my base, 20 is the height here, and over here is 20 and 40. When you figure out all of those areas for each of those triangles, you just subtract it from 1,600, and that'll give you your total.